And welcome back to the start of a brand new Naruto Zanpakuto edition. The winner of the Zanpakuto poll was Sajin Komamura as the captain, former captain of Squad 7's Tenken and Bankai Kokujo Tengen Myo. So obviously, for anyone who's not well versed in the Bleach world, need to explain what a Zanpakuto is and what this particular one does. Zanpakutos in the Bleach world are swords. So, long story short, Bleach, there's Shinigami, death gods, and they exist in their own plane, and they have swords that are representations of themselves. They are literally their soul poured into a weapon and made manifest. And the abilities are all different between all the Shinigami who have them. Is a reflection of who they are. As we did in the previous ones, we had Ichibe's, which is kind of a hacks as hell one, and Unohana's, which is a very unique one. Now here we have Komamura's. Now Komamura's, I don't really need any extra pictures because what you see is what it is. Its first release, which there are two, the Shikai and Bankai, is Roar Tenken, which basically summons the apparition of a giant. Different appendages with different body parts. You throw the sword. Generally speaking, the main attack Komamura uses is he swings his sword, and the giant sword of the giant appears and just attacks. But he could also throw a fist, throw a kick, headbutt in theory. Any movement he does, as long as it's a part of the giant, would appear. Hell, he could literally whip it out and take a leak, and in theory, the giant's dong would come out and take a leak. Probably not, but you get the gist. The Bankai, again, Kokujo, I believe it's Kokujo, Tengen Yo, basically summons the entire giant. And summons it on his behalf and moves to his movements. And it's not as well depicted in the anime, I think, but it's supposed to move within general real time. Maybe like a delayed a second or two prior to Komamura, but generally speaking, in real time. And even if it is delayed by a few seconds, you are talking about characters that can move at relativistic or beyond light speeds. So, yeah, it's still very fast. And it's a powerhouse in terms of just straight raw power. It's capable of tanking and just giant Ceros, giant energy lasers that move at light speed and beyond. Capable of literally just cutting down giant hollows, giant monsters. It's a very powerful Zanpakuto in face value. The problem is that it does not have any clear-cut ability beyond that of the Zanpakuto. Beyond that. I read in a fanfic that because of the spirit of Tenken, which I will show off later in the series, or later in the episode actually, that it's implied it might have a fire ability that goes with it. Because when you actually look at the spirit, it's a silent giant that has fire-esque abilities when brought into the Zanpakuto Rebellion arc. But the theory was that he didn't use the fire abilities out of respect for Yamamoto. That I don't quite see. I think and there's nothing in the manga that implies that any further. So that is one weakness. The other weakness is the Zanpakuto is directly connected to the user. Any damage the Zanpakuto takes, the user takes, and vice versa. So if the user were to get run through or have their arm taken off, which this did happen, Komamura got his arm sliced off against Aizen, the arm of the giant goes too. And when the giant got damaged, seriously injured from Tozen's attack, giant indents in the giant's armor, it just caused Komamura to cough up blood. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword. It does have a further form, but I'm not certain if I'm going to use that form, because I'm not certain how to use that form. So there is, oh god, we're already at almost 5 minutes now. There's Tenken, and then there's Kokujo Tengen Yo, Daigo Jo, which basically all the armor is removed, and there you have the skeletal mass of the giant underneath there, which is just composed of pure Ryatsu. It is more functionally indestructible. And therefore, the user is also. But that came at the cost of ripping out your own heart and basically doing a technique that's humanizing, because Komamura was a wolfman. So I don't know if we're going to be able to use Kokujo Tengen Myo Daigon Jo. I don't know if we're going to be able to use that. But, but we'll see. I'll figure that out later. If we use that, it will not be until Shippuden minimum. So, with that said, 5 minutes in, let's actually get into the what if. Now, the what if would start like any other of these Zanpakuto what ifs. Naruto, having trained with the Shadow Clone Jutsu, waiting for Iruka Sensei to show up, also finds something that finds a seal that looks very similar. It actually has the Uzumaki swirl. So Naruto, touches it and not thinking about it, and maybe through training he's got a little cut. It's a blood activated seal. He activates it, and the sword pops up. And the sword is summoned. So, it's there, and he says, like, cool, a sword. But, I mean, I don't know, I should probably put it back. And so, and then he hears a voice like, who are you? And, because Tenken has to talk. It's got to be able to communicate to Sajin somehow, even though it never actually says anything. Who are you? He's like, well, who said that? Who said that? And then, and then he's like, who are you? Are you new? Why do I feel I recognize you? And Naruto suddenly is like, wait, is this coming from the Naruto? Iruka Sensei. And it's like, Naruto, what are you doing out here? I finally came up to you, Naruto. I only had time to learn one technique. And I mean, this sword popped out too. It's like, oh, he's been practicing. I see how hard he's been training. And so then you get the Mizuki Iruka thing. Naruto is not going to be able to really access Kokomura's, I keep saying Kokomura, but I gotta say Tenken's abilities anytime soon. He's not going to be able to do that, at least not right now. Granted, when he goes to confront Mizuki, he does have the sword in hand, and all the multiple shadow clones come out. So, Mizuki's like, and not only does he get beat up, he also gets cut up pretty well too. And Naruto doesn't kill him, obviously, but still. And obviously Iruka gives him the headband. All's well that ends well. But Naruto goes home that night, and he's just thinking, and just looking at the sword, wondering, he's like, yeah, I know it was you talking, but wait, how can a sword talk? It's like, and he just, maybe, I guess I'll figure it out. Well, it's like, what's your name? Who are you? And the sword's just silent. He's like, oh, man, maybe I'll just go to sleep. And he goes to sleep, and he wakes up in his inner world. And he's there, and he sees the cage. Come closer, boy. And, Kurama's trying to draw him, and he's like, Argh. And, he bangs against the cage. Like, come in so I can kill you. It's like, what are you? It's like, he's the nine-tailed fox. It's like, what was that? It's like, do you not know who I am, Naruto? I already know much about you. I've only known you for so long, and I feel like we know each other. And, the blasted Oni's been here for a while now. Wait, Oni? What? What's he talking about? It's like, he's speaking of me. And all of a sudden, this being comes out. Now, granted, this is the best, without going into like DeviantArt or fan-made images, this is the best image I could find for him. So, yeah, he's huge. Like, a good 20 feet tall, actually. At least the way he's depicted. Of course, I think this is actually him taking his Bankai form, so I might be... But I don't think it's him taking his Bankai form. He's like at least 10 to 15 feet tall. He's red, covered in... He looks kind of like an Oni, but also like a giant with these rings. And like I said, in the anime, those rings were able to light on fire. He's actually able to spew fire from his mouth. Which implies that it may have had a fire ability that Sanji never used, and probably out of some stupid respect, but that's dumb, because if he's gonna berate Ikaku for not using his Bankai or something like that, or he didn't berate, no, that was Tetsuzayamon. But if he's gonna instill that kind of fight to the very end, then I don't think it ever had a fire ability. But he comes in and he stands like, whoa! It's like, you're huge. It's like, Rowan. It's like, I am quite so I am. You are Naruto Uzumaki. It's like, who? What? What's going on here? It's like, and he just looks at it's like, yes, why don't you tell him what's going on here? But first, let me out. And it's like, Naruto, why don't we go over here? And he's just like, come back here! And Kurama's just, and Tenken, now being a part of Naruto's, mind and soul and spirit, is able to kind of just mute him for a little bit. He's like, "Whoa, who are you?" Say the question. You already know who I am, Naruto. Though you don't know me, though you still don't quite know me as well as you should. He's like, what do you mean I already know you are? You say you rescued me from from a life of sleep. I woke once you held me. Held you? And Naruto thinks, you're the swords. Like, I am. I am an art. I am a powerful weapon passed down from the beginnings of the Uzumaki clan. Your clan, Naruto. I was forged by one of the original members of the clan, and I've been passed down since. Obviously, Zanpakuto don't actually work that way for anyone who's questioning that, but that is the way these Naruto what ifs work in this case. Is that because none of them are actually a reflection on Naruto's soul. None of them are Naruto Zanpakuto. I've designed and done a video on Naruto Zanpakuto, in my personal opinion. So whenever we get around to doing that one, which will probably be more for the Bleach Naruto crossover what if, whenever we get on to that one. And even then, it'll depend on which style one we do. But yeah, that's the way this works. It's like, wait, so you have cool powers, or something like that? And it even smiles a little bit. Like, I like to think I bring a certain special something. It's cool. What can you do? That's something you're going to have to find out, Naruto. Wait, I gotta. That's right. I guess I gotta learn how to use a sword. But why can't you tell me now? I'll tell you if you can answer one question. What is my name, Naruto? Your name? You have a name? Oh, well, can you tell me? And he just moves his mouth and just, could you wait? Why are you just lip syncing? I told you my name. If you cannot hear my name, you're not ready to know my power, Naruto. For now, the question is, why do you want to know? Why do you want my strength? To know my strength. I first need to know one question. An answer to a question, Naruto, that only you can answer. Why do you want my strength? And he's like, to be Hokage, the best. Everyone can look up to me and respect me, believe it. And Tenken just, and it's an admirable goal, but not a goal that is worthy of my power. What? You must learn. And I don't know. Again, I haven't really written. I don't have a tendency. I know where the dialogue goes. I just don't always have a tendency. I should really get back to writing out the dialogue a bit more. But Tenken's like, when you finally found the reason for wheeling me, I'll tell you my name. And he's being a little bit critical. He's like, well, go, come on. And he just wakes up. Oh, man. And so Naruto basically goes about the time between now and, honestly, the bell test, just trying to figure out what Tenken means. Like, well, and he still talks to Tenken. Obviously, Tenken and him actually have a pretty open dialogue. I see Tenken as being pretty receptive, and I mentioned when I did the original one that with Ichibei that Zanpakuto's and Naruto are going to respond to each other differently depending on the Zanpakuto. Because Naruto's personality is going to mesh better with other Zanpakutos. For example, it meshed a little better with Ichibei, with Ichimonji, than it does necessarily with Tenken. Although Tenken is really, Tenken is, I think, one of the ones that meshes a bit better with Naruto, especially as we see him grow. But others, like, say, Ryujin Jika, that one's not going to mesh well with Naruto for a while. But again, others, like, say, a Zangetsu or even a Benihime, could lend itself a bit better to Naruto, given how he is. So during that time, though, Naruto still meets Konohamaru. He still beats the crap out of Ebisu with sexy jutsu. And he is at least trying to practice swordsmanship. Like, he's getting the basics down. He's got the basics down. I think he can even pick up the basics pretty quick, unknowingly using clones to kind of spar with each other. And that's the thing. Naruto unintentionally hits upon the Shadow Clone secret and still doesn't know about it. But because he can make clones and the clones can have swords as well, they are training and sparring with each other. So Naruto actually advances pretty quickly within, I think it was like a week's time. He's still, by all accounts, a novice, but he would be an whatever the there is beginner, novice. I'm trying to think of all the ranking systems here. I don't know if intermediate, experienced or intermediate. I think one of the two comes there. Practitioner, I think, would come after that. Then highly skilled, expert, and then I guess master. And I guess if you want to go S rank legend or whatever, anything that. So Naruto is probably like is still advanced beginner to novice. But that's impressive given he's only been doing this a week. He shows up at the back, with the team announcements, and he's, everyone points out, it's like, Naruto, what are you doing here? It's not for job ads. And where'd you get a sword from? Oh, this. And by the way, yes, Sarutobi, it's the same thing. Sarutobi lets him keep the sword. So because I've already now done this twice, we can now skip past we can now bullet point those plot points. So, Shikamaru's like, where'd you get a sword from? Oh, I kind of found it, and the third was nice enough to let me keep it. It's like, huh. I doubt you're already good. And Kiba even says, I doubt you could cut butter with that. Huh. So probably sharpen your dull ass nails. It's like, what'd you say? It's like, and he nodded. It's like, you passed after all. I'm glad. Please. And he actually says, let's not fight. And like, Kiba barely hears it. Naruto barely hears it, but they do hear it. It's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, Naruto's polite. It's like, hi, Hinata. It's like, she's really weird. And so, obviously, Naruto sits next to Sasuke unintentionally, and Sakura and, Sakura says, move, Naruto, I'm sitting next to Sasuke. What? And Sasuke doesn't really care that much about Naruto, but this, he does take note that Naruto does have a sword. Interesting. And by the way, this is one of those swords where, because the first one was a paintbrush that turned into a glaive, and the second one was a very long circular blade that Naruto had to hold on his back. This is just a standard katana. This is something Naruto just can keep at his side. Albeit, it's still big for him. He'll grow into it, especially when he gets older, but it's big for him. But he can still hold on his side. And so ultimately, I think Naruto doesn't get into Sasuke's face here. I think Tenken's like, let it be, just because, leave him be, Naruto. As he gets in his face a little bit, and just, fine, whatever. It's like, yeah, and so he doesn't get, so he gets bopped, but he kind of falls on his face and says, oh, sorry about that. Ow. And so the teams get announced, and Naruto's like, yeah, I'm doomed. Yeah, I'm doomed. And again, I think this is where Tenken actually comes to play. Just make the best out of a worse scenario situation, Naruto. And so again, he doesn't call out like, why does a great ninja like me have to be with a guy like Sasuke? So he doesn't piss off Sakura in that sense. He doesn't embarrass himself in the class. He just sits and he kind of just meditates for a while, because that is one of the things that Tenken kind of says, like, the way to get into your inner world and mindscape and talk to me more effectively than just what we're doing now is meditation. And that's something Naruto's still struggling with, but he ultimately does, go into his inner world. And, he's talking with Tenken, and again, just they're chatting and getting to know each other. And again, Naruto's still trying to figure out why he can't hear his name. And he's just, there's a reason you can't hear my name, Naruto, is because while your goal is admirable for yourself, it's not necessarily what I desire out of a you need to move. You need to not just have that goal, but you need to have more than just that goal. Basically, what he's saying. And so Kakashi eventually shows up. Surprisingly, there is no bop on the head here, because Naruto has been meditating the whole time. And Sakura was probably bothering Sasuke the whole time. Because Naruto has been doing something. I actually took note of the fact that Naruto wasn't being loud or impatient. He actually was legitimately meditating, and just like, like maybe a minute or two prior to say, Naruto, you've been doing this for over an hour. Jeez. And was like, what? Oh, sorry. Wait, it's been an hour? It's been over an hour. Like, or however long Kakashi made him wait. I can't remember. All we know is he was late. So it's like, oh yeah, sorry, I was talking to my sword. You're talking, and Sasuke's like, talking to your sword. Yeah, it's an heirloom that's been passed down from my family. I found out, and it's actually sentient. And it has a personality and all that. So, and Sakura's like, that's so that's stupid. There's no way that's the case, right? Sasuke? It's like, who am I to judge? I'm interested. Can it do anything else but talk? Oh yeah, I just haven't been able to figure it out yet. And so Naruto's actually happy that they're taking an interest in him. Even Sasuke, even though he doesn't like Sasuke much, taking at least an interest in what he has to say. But I promise I'm gonna figure out what he's looking for. And so, Kakashi comes, says, meet me on the roof, tell me who you are. Naruto adds, training with his sword and getting to know his sword into, these things he likes to do. And so, great, you're all unique with your own interests. Okay, come to Tenken 7. Oh, and don't eat breakfast or you'll puke. And they come, and they go, and they come, and a lot of this, unfortunately, goes the same as it does in the original. Naruto having a sword doesn't add much in this case because he's still only kind of he's only a basic user of the blade. He's a little above an average, like someone who could just swing it wildly. He's actually got a little bit of form, but it's not much. So while Kakashi is impressed, and I could even see Naruto when he kind of surprised him, actually getting a little bit of a nick when he swings the sword. And Kakashi's like, oh, I got, but he still gets strung up, and Tenken's like, Naruto, no. And but Naruto's able to cut himself down and cut himself down again. As he's able to get his sword. Unfortunately, it's just not enough to really do much in this case. But Kakashi gives him props. And he tries to go eat the lunches. That doesn't work. Ultimately, it goes the same. Naruto gets tied to the pole or the post. They give him the food. Would 3 of us or what? That's your excuse? Yeah. And so there you go. So that leads us, honestly, and we're only at the 20-minute mark. I think we can just go to 25 minutes for this first part. That leads us, honestly, to the bridge building stuff, the bridge builder stuff, Tazuna and all that. Now, with how Naruto has advanced at this point, yeah, they got team building down, and it adds that Naruto has a sword, and Naruto keeps practicing with Komamura, and again, using this, I keep saying Komamura, Tenken, keeps practicing with Tenken, and again, using his clones, it gives him a lot faster advancing than someone else. Now, granted, Naruto's not using any formal style, he's just practicing the sword. But Tenken's probably giving him some advice on how to hold the sword. And Naruto would still probably be mostly, at least in this version, like a power user based on the style of, like a power style, as opposed to speed. A lot of kendo style. She's like, hua, hua. But also knowing how to block and all that. Naruto at this point would probably be more of an advanced novice to, advanced novice to maybe to closing in on intermediate. He could handle himself against probably any standard genin with a blade at this point, but he's not like anyone even with beyond basic skill at this point could still take him, or at least go toe to toe with him. Anyone who's even had any months worth of training in the basic style could probably take him, but he's still better than anyone of his age group with a sword. So Tazuna comes in. Oh, the one with the short one with the sword is the dumbest. What? I'll destroy you. You can't destroy the client, Naruto. And so ultimately you get them heading out the village. You get them taking the mission. You get the demon brothers attacking, which Naruto still freezes up. And obviously gets the injury on his hand, bleeds himself out. If you lose any more blood, you're going to die. Really good idea to close the wound now. Seriously. God bless you, Kakashi. So that happens. And really, I think that's where we're going to end it with them basically being attacked by Zabuza. Now, I did a lot of speeding around in this version. That's because I would just be repeating the same stuff I've repeated in the past 2 a lot for those scenarios. So bullet pointing those is important until we get to closer where Naruto actually releases Tenken. Once Naruto releases Tenken the first time, that's when we're going to see a lot more of the heavier changes. Because now Naruto legitimately has a new ability he can use. But until then, Naruto and the gang are being attacked by Zabuza. That's where we're ending part 1. So until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll see you folks for the next one. Have a good